Okay, so in this video, we're gonna go through a proposal by Carla Casey that introduces an endorsement method for mitigating channel jamming, HTLC jamming in Lightning Network. It's still in draft, but it's good and it's interesting to go through. So basically, what they propose here is that it's a local endorsement method in order for nodes to get reputation. So some nodes have a good reputation and some nodes have a bad reputation, and the nodes that have a good reputation, their payments would easily go through, and their payments would easily be prioritized over the normal payments. So what they do here is that, let me just get rid of these comments. What they do here is that they have a new message type. They have a new field called endorsed, and basically it's kind of like a boolean. Like there's no range. Like it's either 1 or 0. So you cannot kinda endorse someone. You either endorse someone or you don't. So yeah, basically that it's called endorsed. You can either put 1 or 0 in that. So as it says here, if it is the original source of the HTLC, if a node is the original source of the HTLC, if you are making a payment, it makes sense that you put endorse to 1 because you trust yourself. And otherwise, you should set endorse as described in bold 4, which we're gonna read down here. And if endorse is provided, you should interpret endorsed as described in bold 4, which again we're gonna read down here. Let me just get rid of these comments again. Okay, so basically the source, when a payment starts, the source of the payment sets endorse to 1. And after that, each hop, if the node trusts the node before it, it's gonna leave the endorse field as is. So if the endorse field is 1, you just leave it as 1 and pass it to the next person, next node. Or if you don't trust the node before you, you're gonna change that endorsed field to 0. So if it's 0, it would stay 0. If it's 1, you would change it to 0 because you don't trust the node before you and you don't want to risk your reputation with the node after you. So that's how it works. Now, so let me just draw what I said here in order to make the understanding easier. So imagine that there is a node A, that initiates the payment, and it has a channel to node B, which has a channel to node C, and node C has a channel to node D. So node A is the source of the payment. It starts the payment, so it would set the endorse field to 1 because node A trusts itself and wants its payments to go through faster. So it would set endorse to 1. If B trusts A, then it wouldn't touch the endorse field. Basically, it would forward the payment with the same endorse field. Now imagine that C doesn't trust B, and C has a reputation with D, right? D trusts C. So C doesn't want to risk his reputation with D because C doesn't trust B. So when C forwards the payment, it will change the endorse field from 1 to 0. Basically, C is telling D that, hey, look, this payment is coming through, but I don't trust the source that much. So you should kind of put this payment in the low priority bucket. This is an unknown payment. I don't trust this guy. So I'm not gonna risk my reputation for him. So you can imagine that when a payment starts from going from the source to the destination, in the first few hops, we expect it to start with the endorse field being 1, and it either stays 1 till it reaches the destination, because if everybody trusts the other person and everybody has a good reputation to the next node, then the endorse field would stay 1 to the end. Or if there is even someone in the middle of this path that doesn't trust the previous node, he would change the endorse field from 1 to 0. So the endorse field would be 1, 1, 1, then 0, 0, 0, 0 for the rest of the pass. And it doesn't make sense for someone to change the endorse field from 0 to 1 incentive-wise. Like, they can do it, but incentive-wise, it doesn't make sense to change the endorse field from 0 to 1, because when you get a payment which has an endorse field of 0, it means that the person that gave you the payment doesn't trust the payment. Like, for example, right here, if B forwards the payment with endorse field of 0 to C, it's basically telling C that I don't trust the node that made the payment. So B doesn't trust A. So it forwards the payment with endorse field set to 0 to C. So it doesn't make sense for C to change the endorse field to 1, because C is receiving this payment from B, and B is telling C that I don't trust this payment, I don't know this payment. So if C changes the endorse field from 0 to 1, it's basically telling D that I trust this payment, and C is risking his reputation with D for a payment that he doesn't know where it originated, and he doesn't trust the source. So it doesn't make sense. So the endorse field always starts with 1, because A has an incentive to set the endorse field to 1, because it's his own payment, he trusts himself, and he wants the payment to go through faster. And along the road, if people do trust the payment, they would set it to 1 because they want it to go through so they can collect the fees. And if they don't trust the source, like the node before them, then they would change it from 1 to 0 because they don't want to risk their reputation with the next node. So basically, this is what this proposal is saying. It does make sense to an extent. And it also, the way that I read it, there are some unknown allocation slots and unknown allocation liquidity that are it basically makes buckets, separates the, if we have 400 something HTLCs spots, it reserves some of them for known payments, the payments that are endorsed, and some of them for unknown payments, the payments that we don't trust that much, but it's okay, we want to give the opportunity to new nodes to prove themselves. So yeah, this is basically the proposal. I think that I understand it correctly. I hope that I do. If I'm wrong, please tell me. And yeah.